talking today earbuds. The Beats Fit Pro versus the Bose QuietComfort earbuds. The whole reason this came about is because I was looking for some wireless earbuds, not necessarily with noise cancellation, but I came across these Bose, and you can see in the case, this is the SoundSport 3. This is the old model of Bose, and I came across it because it was for sale online at an extremely low price. It turns out that these ended up being fake copies. They've done a pretty good job overall of the aesthetics of the case and everything. They do work reasonably well. Sound quality is probably the priority, with fit being very, very close second. Basically, these are going in the bin. After doing a lot of research on the best wireless earbuds out there, I've ended up actually buying both of these because I just couldn't make my mind up. There was no way of testing them. We've got the Beats Fit Pro in the white, and then the Bose with this push button to open the case in the black. So rather than doing a review on these separately, this is basically going to be a review of both products and a comparison all rolled in together, because this is what I came down to, these two, with no idea which one was better. So let's go into the pros and cons on paper. We got the Beats Fit Pro, which are much smaller. They've got this wingtip design, which the Bose also have a wingtip design, which we'll get into a bit later. The wingtips on these ones are very sturdy. It's just a single tip, there's no fan or anything like that. And this actually hooks just in your ear. Twist it backwards and that pops in your ear. In use, these are amazing. They go in first time, they stay in, they're extremely solid. The fit is amazing. I would go as far as saying that the Beats Fit Pro are the best fitting headphones ever used. So I used to have a pair of wired JVC phones which had a round the back of the ear thing like the Power Beats, and I have actually tried the Power Beats as well, which are very comfortable. They definitely fit on, there's no doubt about that. But then the whole thing with the Power Beats is quite a large footprint. It takes up a lot of space, it's heavy, the case is humongous. This does what the Power Beats does in a tiny package, and the sound from my testing is quite a bit better than the Power Beats. They seem to have upped their game with the sound quality on this. So from a fit perspective, these are the business. If we come into the Bose, it's a much larger actual piece. They have the wingtips, which is more of a fan type, wider design. It's much more flexible than the Beats Fit Pro. Okay, both of them are flexible, will move, but it's quite solid. On the Bose, you can bend this very easily. And I think that they would have actually done a better job if they had made this wingtip on the Bose a lot more sturdy and less bendable. It just would work better, I think. It will come loose with activity. If you're going to be running, I wouldn't trust these running, which in my experience, I know people like them, but in my experience, they just don't work. Right? I can shake my head around, and if I did this for long enough, it is going to come out, but right now, for a few seconds, you can get away with it. It does the job. So if you're not very active, it could do the job. For me, I'm using the mountain bike a lot, I'm running, there's the gym, and I want to be using these for those purposes as well as sitting, working in the office and whatnot. For me, these aren't cutting it. These are fine if you're sitting in the office and you're mostly not moving around a lot all day. Actually pop that in. The whole part of the Beats is in my ear. The wingtip's in, and then the base of it is kind of at the bottom of where the hole starts going into my ear. Whereas the Bose, you've got the wingtip in your ear, the piece that delivers the sound, and then the rest of it's hanging out of your ear, and it's hanging down quite far, down to your earlobe even. You know, it's even covering my earlobe there. Right, so just regarding the fit, I just want to add something quickly, and that is the wingtips. The Bose does give you these extra pieces they come with medium, and they come with large size and small size in the packet. This is a small one here, this is a medium, and the larges I haven't got out. They're huge if you need the larges. The Beats, you can't actually change the wingtip on the Beats. It's fixed, it's built into the into the design of the earbud. So you can only change the tips, which I find is fine for me. If you have one of the huge ears, it might need the large Bose wingtips. You might struggle with the Beats, but I can't imagine. It seems like one size fits all. And the wing on the Beats, because it's a single piece, it looks like it would fit most different types of ear rather than this shape that Bose has created. So I've got the large tips, and I think these are the medium tips, which it came with, and I've changed them to the small tips just to test it out. Actually, the medium tips and the small tips both fit pretty well. I think the small ones are slightly better. I find that the medium ones are okay, but they kind of fill your whole ear up, which is not too bad, but it feels just tight. You know, the small ones just sit there nicely. And because the wingtip is so good that it doesn't move anyway. So you're not relying on the actual snug fit of this tip itself to hold the earbud in, which you would on other designs that don't have any wingtips. You do rely on that to some extent with the Bose, because the wingtip's holding it in, and it does an alright job of it, a decent job of it. And then this is much wider than the Beats. It's much softer as well, the silicone. Probably I'd say a good 30% softer, and the actual shape of it really fits into your ear. It really fills up your whole ear, and it kind of holds it. It doesn't go deep inside your ear canal as some earbuds that don't have wingtips do. It's still sort of more outside the canal, but inside the outer area of your ear. But I find that does grip, and it has to grip. You kind of have to grab it, and you have to kind of twist it in and push it in a little bit so that it's in strong connection with your skin and your ear. So that it stays in and doesn't move, because I have found that there is some movement if you're moving around with these. Whereas the Beats, there's none of that issue. So I've gone for the smallest ones, and there's not that much of a claustrophobic, sticking inside your ear feeling, which I much prefer. I can't stand those other types that go right in your ear canal and all that stuff. No, not for me. Now, don't get me wrong. Even though the Beats gets the win overall on the design, size, and everything, the Bose case and everything is very high quality. If this is going to sit on your desk and you are going to use it in the office, you're not going to carry this heavy case around, it does the job. You know, it's a beautiful experience. You've got that there ready for you on your desk. Wow, you pop the little button, it smoothly glides open, and then you've got this luxurious experience. Amazing. Especially traveling around a lot, working in all different locations, and having a pretty active lifestyle, the Beats just takes the win. Sound quality. Now, I think I might have said that sound quality is the most important thing to me when deciding on a pair of earbuds. It's a tough one. It's hard to put this into words. So to be able to actually use the full sound quality potential relies on the product actually being usable, that it allows you to use it. And you've got to want to pick it up, and you've got to want to use it in all the environments that you spend your time in. So coming down to sound quality, before I ordered these products, I was pretty sure that the Bose was going to be the clear winner. I just thought that based on using those, sound quality was great, and that these being the latest and greatest that Bose have got would be the clear winner. Let's get into that anyway. I ordered the Beats because I was sure that I was going to be using these at least for a lot of activity. Gym, running, biking, even dirt biking, motorbiking, whatever. And the idea was that I thought that I could get away with having these, and if the sound quality was good enough, they would do everything active and non-active. Work situations, example, sitting down all day. Now, sound quality was at the top of my list, remember? So if they were not good enough quality sound, they might be good enough to be used in the gym. So I ended up ordering both. I got the Beats first, arrived first, I used them. I was impressed with the sound quality. It sounds like you've got little subwoofers in your ear. The thing with the Beats is the sound quality is good to very good out of the box and without doing anything. But if you do a little bit of tweaking, it becomes outstanding. It really becomes incredible, the sound. It needs a bit of EQ tweaking, and that can be done with a multitude of apps. I don't know why people go on these reviews, other reviews I've seen, and start talking about any various brand manufacturers don't have an EQ built into their native app. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any difference. Beats app works very well. You can turn the transparency on. We'll get into the transparency later. But it doesn't have any EQ built into it. But there's at least 10 EQ apps, free EQ apps that I've found on the Android Play Store. I've tested a few of them. So the best app that I've found is one called Wavelet. I'll put a link in the description below. And it's an EQ app, but what seems to be happening with that one is the guy has taken all the headphones, earbuds, and the over-ear proper headphones, and he's analyzed them to the nth degree and tweaked the EQ specifically for each model of headphone or earbud and made a profile. So you go into that app and you can select the profile for your specific audio, and so you go into it and you can select the specific model of your earbuds and apply this auto EQ based on that. It turns these from sounding very good into outstanding. It really makes them extremely good. You can also then tweak it more. There's another EQ, a manual EQ, which you can add on top of that, and you can tweak certain things, which I think is really, really very good. There's a free and a pro version of the app. The free one's fine, but I got the pro one because it allows you to tweak bass and certain virtualizer stuff. So the actual profile for this in Wavelet, for iPhone users, I can take a picture of the curves that I'm using for this from the auto EQ, and then you can just replicate that. If in any EQ app, you can just copy the exact shape of the sound profile, and it will do the same thing. One thing to note is that the auto EQ profile for these in the app is actually for the power beats. It has a very, very similar sound stage to these, although I would say that having tried both of them, the sound on these is quite a lot better. It's just crisper, clearer. They've just improved the sound quality. Bass is just it's more punchy and less muddy like the power beats. The power beats are good, don't get me wrong, but they've just gone a step up on this. So that brings us on to the sound quality of the Bose QuietComfort earbuds. Now, as I said, I think I had high expectations for these. I expected and assumed that these would be amazing out of the box. And they are. The sound quality on these is amazing out of the box. Without any EQ tweaking, these are just awesome. And they sound signature Bose. It just sounds clear, crisp. There's clarity. The bass is there. There's enough punchy bass for your bass heads or whatever. You can dial the bass up in the EQ, and it seems like the components that they've used can handle it. It doesn't distort if you push the volume. Now, I normally run another app that increases the overall volume, which, be warned though, you can distort and you can damage your equipment if you go too far with that kind of thing. But what I find is most of the time with these kind of products, or with any kind of headphone products, they never quite go loud enough out of the box. Probably to protect them and to protect you and everything. But I like to add another 25% on there. And then you've got to be careful with the bass because you're going to start distorting and everything. But running those an extra 25%, with both of these, they handle it. And I would say the Bose handles it better. If you start really pushing it over that, this will distort later and this will distort earlier. I'm not saying this is bad, but we're talking about pushing the limits here with the bass, with the volume and everything, which these don't necessarily need. Although out of the box, they're still too quiet for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but I like to have my music pretty loud. They both go around the same volume. These might go actually a little bit louder out of the box without any tweaking or any apps. The sound is just clear. If you're just going to throw these on, connect them to your computer and listen to a YouTube video, these would just win. They would just win. They're actually outstanding sound. And these are outstanding sound if you tweak them. Without tweaking them, if I just throw these on and listen to YouTube videos, it's extremely good, the sound. But it's just not that 5% more that these get, in terms of soundstage quality. It's so tight, but I've got to give the win to the Bose slightly on sound quality. So it comes down to the fact, are these better to have because of that reason? And you would think, whereas sound quality was my priority, that should be a winner then. But it isn't, because the Beats offer so much more. And it sounds silly to say that, okay, the one that, it's negligible, the sound quality difference. They're almost the same. And with the EQ tweaking, they're the same. So everything about the Beats is just smaller, more compact, more efficient, more optimized. Look at the size of the box of the Beats here compared to this large size of the Bose. Of course, the Bose are a bigger size, but look at the size of that compared to the box. You don't need a box that large. So I do like that, you know, we got more sustainability, less packaging waste. The booklet just kind of is all compacted into this little foldable thing. You're going to throw all that away anyway, but I think it's a much smaller footprint. The actual box that came in the delivery was much smaller with the Beats. So a small note on charging. Both of these take USB-C. The Beats, so it doesn't take an Apple iPhone cable, but you should have a USB-C cable if you're in the Apple ecosystem with the MacBooks and all that stuff. I'm so glad they don't use a micro USB anymore. Bose is a wireless charging case, which maybe means why it's a little bit heavier. So you can throw that on a wireless charger and it does the thing. Okay, so this section is going to be ease of use, functionality, actually using them, how you operate each type of these earbuds. What am I talking about? The Beats have a physical button on here. There's a noticeable click. Not that you'll hear the click, but you can feel the click, and it's a physical thing. It's built into this whole piece. On the other hand, Bose QuietComfort is touch operated. So it's quite a big difference. You can do almost the same stuff with both of these. We'll go through the Bose. So you slide up and down to do the volume, and then you double tap the right side to pause the track or then play the track again, and then you double tap the left side and that will change between transparency mode and noise cancellation. It's a little bit touchy sometimes with the volume swiping up and down. It doesn't register. I can't complain too much about it. The Beats with the physical button is one click to play, one click to pause, and that's the same for both sides, left or right, whereas the Bose is only on the right for that. You have to set it up so that if you do a long press, that it will either be volume or the transparency and noise cancellation modes. You can't change the noise cancellation then. If you've got noise cancellation on, you can't adjust that. You can't turn it into transparency mode. You can open the app, of course. You'd have your phone with you, you pop into the app and you just switch it easy enough. And then, but the Bose, you can do all of it at the same time. So one thing to remember is that if you connect the Beats to your laptop with Bluetooth and then you start listening to stuff and whatever, you're stuck in that mode for the transparency if you've got it set up with volume as the long press, which I found the other day. I had it on noise cancellation, put it on, and I was on the computer and I wanted it to be transparency mode and I couldn't do anything about it. I had to disconnect it from the Bluetooth on the laptop, reconnect it to the Bluetooth on the phone so I could open the phone app and then switch it to my transparency and then go back, connect it to the computer again. You wouldn't have that issue if you set it so that you have the long press equals doing the transparency mode, and then you can't change the volume. You would have to manually change the volume on your phone, which is easy enough again, or change the volume on your laptop, which I'd be doing anyway if I'm on the laptop. But what I've found in practice is that the volume is more useful because, to be honest, I don't use the noise cancellation. I use transparency mode because I want to hear what's going on around me. It doesn't make any, it's completely irrelevant whether the noise cancellation is on or the transparency is on or neither of them are on. The music's playing so loud that it's cancelling all that stuff out anyway. So if I pause the track quickly, say I'm on the beach and someone comes up to have a conversation, or you want to stop and talk to a dog or whatever, you might want to hear what the dog's got to say back. Click the button one time, click on the Beats, or double tap click on the Bose, and then I want to hear. Then if transparency mode is on all the time, you then have paused your music and you have full transparency mode and it plays all the outside world sounds into you, which I think is an amazing technological advancement over the old types. It's brilliant. So I pause the music, have transparency. So I'm not switching between noise cancellation and transparency all day, in and out. I'm just not doing it. I'm leaving it on transparency. I'm playing and pausing and turning the volume up and down. That's what I'm doing. So that's why I've got the Beats set up like that. The Bose, you can do all of those things, even though I wouldn't bother but you can, by double tapping the left one, doing the noise transparency or noise cancellation. We better go a bit deeper into the actual noise cancellation, because a lot of people will buy earbuds specifically for their noise cancellation. Both of these have transparency, both of them have noise cancellation, and they're both very good. I would say that the Bose is the winner on noise cancellation. The noise cancellation on the Bose, if you don't want to hear anything else that's going on in the world, get the Bose, because they just cut out all the sound. You know, you turn it on, plus it has a meter in the app. It's got a slider. You can physically hear the difference when you're sliding up and down. So you can have half, you can have 50%, you can have 60%, whatever. You can really tune it to how you like it, which is brilliant. If noise cancellation is your #1 priority, then get the Bose. At the other end, the Beats has noise cancellation, and it's amazing. And I got this first, and I turned it on, and I was like, holy, how is this going on? I'm walking, I've got the C waves happening. It doesn't mute them 100%, but it just takes all the sound out. And I'd say that the transparency mode on both of these is on par, is pretty much on par. People may disagree, but I can't tell too much difference. I thought that the Bose would be better, and I thought that it would be like you're wearing nothing. Neither of them are like you're wearing nothing. And I'd say they're both very, very, very similar on the transparency. Noise cancellation, the Bose. Okay, let's talk style. So, this might be important to some of you. The Bose QuietComfort comes in this jet black. It's kind of got shiny glossy back, sort of charcoal finish, like almost black finish, and I think it's very classy looking. And then we've got the Beats, which comes in this white and red, which I thought was pretty cool. Well, and it matches one of my company brandings. This is the way to go if you want to follow that kind of Apple look and feel. Although it's got that red, I think it's very, very nice with that red touch. And it's trendy, you know, the whites. We're going to dive into calls or recording your voice for broadcast quality, making videos, making walkthroughs, which I do a lot, screen captures with voice. Is it good enough for that? I think both of these are good enough. They're a million times better than the laptop microphone. And they're good enough to get the point across and to hear and everything. I'd say that they're easily good enough for calls. Overall, I give the nod to the Bose for the microphone quality. It's not a big enough difference for me to warrant carrying this around and having both pairs all the time. Right, do a little section on battery. Bose Gear, I think it is 6 hours, or is it 5 hours or 6 hours? It's not really relevant for me. These get 6 hours, the Beats. Pretty sure that these get 18 hours max, if you include all the extra time from the case, and these get like 20 or 24 hours even or something. Either way, it's going to be like more than enough. You take them out, you throw them in the case for a bit, and you've got another 3 or 4 hours added on. All good. Not a deciding factor. So one thing I didn't mention was price. Beats, where I am, I ended up getting them for $225, and they are normally actually $199, I think, if you're in America. And Bose were $290, which I think they're $279 in America. Personally, I wouldn't use price as the factor. When we're talking about the difference of, you know, $80 or whatever, you're going to be wearing these things a huge amount of time that $80, it becomes insignificant. Right, so I'm going to try and do a quick sum up conclusion. Probably missed a million things, but there you go. Which one are you going to buy? Like, which one would I recommend? For my lifestyle and the amount that I travel and the amount of activity stuff that I do, as well as work a lot and listen to music a lot as well, and some quite heavy, demanding types of music with electronic music, they're both bloody amazing. The sound is outstanding on both of these. I'd say it's impressive they got all of that into this small one on the Beats. The fit and everything, the Beats is miles better. So the overall feeling is that the Beats is the one to go for. I just can't recommend it enough. I'm just thinking, where would I want the Bose over the Beats? If I was sitting in the office all day, why would I want the Bose over the Beats? Because the sound quality is negligible. So I would have to say, and I'm rambling on in this conclusion, that overall, they both have outstanding sound quality. The Beats fit miles better for all purposes. If you're doing any kind of activity or you do anything active, I'm even just talking on brisk walks in the morning for exercise, I'll go for the Beats, because you're just not messing about with this trying to fight its way out of your ear or trying to readjust it or anything. If you go to the gym, get the Beats. And if you cycle or run or anything, get the Beats. You know, there's no chance that the Bose is staying in your ear. And then I'm not saying that get the Beats because you have an active lifestyle. That the Beats is just the hands down winner, really, when you consider all the other factors. The form factor, the size of the case, it fits in your shirt pocket all day. Travel-wise and all that stuff, you know, it's just smaller to carry around. The size of it, it sits in your ear, you know, it's not like obtrusive. This reminds me a bit of the old school, kind of like the old school Bluetooth things that you used to like connect to your phone and stuff. Come back to it again. The Bose is like the big Mercedes-Benz, you know? And then the Beats is like that pumped up Japanese sports car, like raw, and you can throw it around. And so both of them are high performance, like, don't get me wrong. High quality performance in both of them. The Beats is just miles more usable. So as far as it goes from me, the vote goes to the Beats. Do check the links in the description below if you want to buy either of these pairs at the best price available. Okay, so this video wouldn't be complete without mentioning Apple. Funnily enough, which I didn't realize until recently, is that they actually took over Beats a little while ago, and they make these. So Apple actually makes these Beats headphones now, the earbuds, which is not a bad thing because Apple always makes a solid product. I'm not actually in the Apple ecosystem myself. They do make well-designed stuff. And then there's all the technology that goes into this. So these are ideal for people on Android, the same as the Bose with any other model. But then the additional bonus, and this is if you are in the Apple ecosystem with an iPhone, is that these have this H1 chip in, so that connects seamlessly to Apple. It gives you this, I think they've got this spatial sound and all that. So there's a few extra things. Not things that I would necessarily miss, or any of you Android users would miss. This is a solid product for Android, don't get me wrong. But if you're in Apple, it's like a no-brainer. I've heard that these are actually quite a bit better sound than the Apple AirPods Pro. They're just a step up. They've got better bass, and they've got the wingtips. One of the biggest complaints about the AirPods Pro from friends of mine who are in the Apple ecosystem is that they just come loose, you know? And I think these actually look better because they're self-contained in the ear. They don't have this sort of stem hanging down, which is, you know, that's been the typical Apple style for the last few years. And I haven't tried the AirPods, but I've heard from others that the sound quality on these is a fair whack better. So if you're doing anything kind of active, just take these over the AirPods. And the pricing, I think, is actually $50 cheaper than the AirPods. Now, of course, the AirPods are going to come out with AirPods 3. If they don't build a wingtip design into it, it's going to be the Beats Fit Pro every day. So that's just the word on how Apple is related to all this. If the Bose were 200 and the Beats were 250, I would still sway towards the Beats because of all of the factors that I've talked about.